Good afternoon. This is a hearing of the Chatham Conservation Commission being held on December 6th, 2023, in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Chatham Wetlands Protection Bylaw. My name's Janet Williams and I serve as the chair. Today's hearing is being broadcast live on Channel 8 and being recorded for the on-demand archives available on the town's website. It's being conducted in person, by phone, and by video conference. So the agenda, instructions on how to attend, and copies of all documents for review have been posted on the town's website. To all participants, whether you're attending by phone or online, please remain muted unless you've been recognized by the chair. If you're attending by phone, you can mute and unmute by hitting *6. When you've been recognized by the chair, please identify yourself for the record before beginning your remarks or question. If you're online and you're not a commissioner, we ask that you please keep your camera turned off unless you've been recognized. You can indicate that you wish to speak by using the raise hand feature. And so that we have a record of a quorum attending today, I'll now ask each commission member to indicate their presence. Vice Chair Karen Lattin.
Present.
Bob Rawls.
Present.
Bob Delvecchio. He continues to be on extended leave. We hope he's back by the beginning of the new year. Mary Sullivan.
Present.
Elise Gordon.
Present.
Cheryl Maservi.
Present.
I'm here. We have established that we have a quorum. We have a couple of matters for which a continuance has been requested and will be granted. So if you're here for any of the following matters, they won't be heard today. 18 Pine Drive, the order of conditions will be, they've requested a continuance till January the 10th. And 414 Fox Hill Road, they've requested a continuance to December the 13th. And I think that is it for requested continuances. So at this point, we're going to, Paul Whiteman, the acting conservation agent, is with us online, but we're going to read out the matters here and have Vice Chair Karen Lattin be in charge of that for today so Paul can save his voice.
All right, first on the agenda is for an order of conditions for 18 Pine Drive, Kimberly Bullis, map 6C, parcel J11, SE 10-3648, demolition of an existing dwelling and construction of a new single-family dwelling.
Okay, and where are the... All right, the copy of the order of conditions is in the Dropbox. It has been posted online. Several commission members have already weighed in with some comments. Yesterday at the pre-hearing meeting, we went ahead and accepted all those comments, so the version that was posted on MyTownGov incorporates them. So let me start by asking if there are any other comments, questions, edits, changes.
We are, but we thought we would.
We're gonna continue. We're gonna get our input first and then finalize it and then continue it. Okay. So are there any other questions, comments, changes?
Did you
accepted all
accept them? So I can't. Should we read out what they were, or did the applicant?
No, this was posted after we accepted
Okay.
the changes. We did that at the meeting yesterday, so
Okay.
the version that's posted already has them in it. Okay. All right, so we have a version that we will move to the January 10th hearing folder, and with that, we'll take a motion to continue to that date.
I move that we continue 18 Pine Drive for an order of conditions on January 10th, 2024.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That's unanimous.
Okay, next one. It's another order of conditions, 859 Main Street, 859 Main Street, Chatham LLC, map 13E, parcel 4, SE 10-3656, redevelopment of an existing commercial parking lot.
Okay, this one as well, the same thing. It was available in the Dropbox, and several members made some comments and changes. At the pre-hearing meeting yesterday, those were reviewed. They were all accepted, so the version that was posted on MyTownGov incorporates them all. At this point, I'll ask other members if they have any further questions, comments, edits, changes, concerns about this one. Hearing none, is there anybody on the platform or in the meeting room who has any questions, comments, changes on the order for 859 Main?
Wow.
Hearing nothing, we will take a motion then to close the hearing and approve the order.
I move that we close the hearing and approve the order of conditions for 859 Main Street.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote, Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That's unanimous. That's approved.
Okay, next one. It's another OC, 111 and 119 Scattery Road, Nicholas Colucci and Eleanor Burton Colucci and Eileen Ryan, map 16J, parcels LC 8 and 10, SE 10-3654, proposed demolition of an existing dwelling and construction of a new single-family dwelling within the buffer zone to a coastal bank and invasive species control with land subject to coastal storm flowage.
All right, this one's a little bit different because it was prepared after the hearing yesterday. So a draft version was posted on MyTownGov, and members have been editing that this morning and making some changes. So let me summarize what those changes are, because they will be to the version that you all have seen online. Just some date changes. There is a question, and we'll come back to it, about the license agreement that is needed to fully perform the restoration. We'll circle back to that. These are just typos.
Oh, good.
Outer aura. Okay, the substantive areas of changes are in the findings. Finding number 2 speaks to the mitigation that's proposed. We've added a sentence to clarify that at least 75% of plantings in the outer aura will be natives in compliance with our regulation and requirements. In addition, it's now numbered 4 because we moved the 200-foot of lawn removal up to 3, because that's part of the mitigation. Invasive removal and management of native vegetation restoration will be done in a 4,400 square foot area on the coastal bank along the property line of 111 Scattery Road, as well as a portion of 119 Scattery Road, which has granted a license to 111 Scattery Road to include in the restoration. In this area, 45 native shrubs, 5 native trees, as well as native herbaceous species and native grasses and forbs will be planted. A new finding number 5, the owner of the property at 119 Scattery Road has granted a license to the applicant allowing the restoration to extend to the area between the boundary line between the two properties and the driveway at 119 Scattery Road.
Janet,
Yep.
that, we shouldn't have a period between line and between.
I saw that as I was reading it out
Yeah,
loud, and I just
yeah.
removed it. Like, what's that doing there? A new number 6, the proposed restoration will result in the creation of a wide, robust vegetated buffer zone to the bordering vegetated wetland. The species selected for installation will improve overall biological diversity in the project and the surrounding area. Special conditions, we added a special condition with respect to the license agreement, because we, as we might remember from the hearing, if the property at 119 is sold, that extinguishes the license. So the applicant was amenable to the concept that a new license would be requested of the new owner in the event of a transfer of the property. So special condition 2 reads, if the property at 119 Scattery Road is sold, the new owner shall be required as a condition of the sale to continue the permission and maintain the portion, permission to maintain the portion of the restoration area located on 119 Scattery Road. A copy of the replacement license shall be provided to the conservation agent, and this is a continuing condition. And that's all that I saw on the version that was in the Dropbox. Does anybody else have any other questions or comments on 111 Scattery? Go ahead.
Back to the final finding about irrigation. My notes from those hearings say that I thought that they had agreed to remove any existing in-ground irrigation.
They did.
So that finding says no irrigation will be installed.
Right. Should we add it as a condition then that existing irrigation
Will be
will
removed.
be removed?
I was wondering about how to handle that one,
Okay.
because they did agree.
Does it need to be removed or just not installed?
Well, it's there
It's got to be,
there.
it'll be taken out.
when they build and reno.
Oh,
I think that was the actual agreement verbally in the meeting.
Yes. I had that down as well.
That's what I had.
I have written down no future irrigation, so it sounds like
That
maybe
was
they
the first meeting, they said no future, and then they agreed
And
Oh,
to
okay.
At the
not.
subsequent meeting, they said they would
Alright,
take it
great.
out.
Yeah,
They
'cause I
didn't
had that
didn't need
too.
it.
Right, all right.
They reconsidered what was going in there and said, we don't need it.
We're-
Okay, so I have a question. Do we have, is somebody here from this project? Okay. Do we have a copy of the license, a signed copy to add to the record?
I don't believe we do, but I think you should make it as a condition prior to scheduling the pre-construction meeting, the license will be presented to the
Yep.
commission.
Oh, okay.
Yep, okay, thank you. Let me just highlight that and I'll come back to that later. All right, anybody in the audience or online?
Actually, I have,
Oh, wait.
I haven't, not quite done. In the special condition, now new number 3, where we talk about mitigation, no, let's see, demarcation. I was a little confused when I went back and looked at everything as to whether we had both a mitigation area and a restoration area. And if so,
We do.
We do.
then both, normally we would seek to have both demarcated. So this only talks about mitigation area, this standard language, it doesn't talk about restoration area. And I was thinking that,
I thought, I had in my notes that, I think it was Ian Peach from Wilkinson said that there was no need for
A mow strip.
a mow strip
I also had down
or
that
demarcation.
something about low stone to mark as demarcation.
Okay, is that for both?
I didn't have whether it was for both or not.
We can add it. We want to protect both. Mitigation and restoration areas.
so that, for that number 3, it just
Yeah.
kind of goes all through that.
Yep,
Yeah.
it now applies to everything.
And the same thing happens to number 4, new number 4.
The invasive.
On the invasive, yes. Okay. That's it? Okay. Any hands raised? Anybody on the platform? Speak now or hold your peace. Hearing nothing, we are ready then to close, for motion to close and approve.
I move that we close the hearing and approve the order of conditions for 111 Scottery Road. Scottery Road.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
aye.
And I vote aye. That's unanimous. That's approved. Okay. Moving on.
All right. The next is a request for determination of applicability, 94 Juniper Lane West, Lawrence, Brian Koss. map 4D, parcel 51F, ND 7, R23 dash, there's nothing else. Proposed construction of second-story access to existing
jump there or
garage,
not?
entry deck, landings, timber steps, and timber retaining walls. Proposed garden bed and native plantings, and proposed connection to existing septic system.
Good afternoon, Lynn Hamlin, Hamlin Consulting, representing the applicant. This project's pretty straightforward, as you just read in the legal ad. There's an exterior stairway proposed to access a second-story bedroom in the existing garage. I tried to give you photographs so you could see what was going on. All the work will occur within existing hardscape landscape areas, so there's no disturbance to anything natural. There's no vegetation coming down. Some of the work will occur within their own vegetable garden. I think it's pretty straightforward. I gave you both the photographs and the architectural rendition so you could get an idea of what it looks like. They are proposing some native plantings in existing, the shell walkway area and the existing lawn area. There's 60, I think it's 63 square feet of proposed native plantings. The work is a minimum of 84 feet from the top of the coastal bank, which coastal engineering flagged. I think it's very conservative, but I left conservative. So it's at least 84 feet away, and I will stop there and see if you have any questions.
Thank you. So it's on the house basically lies between the garage and the resource area for the
Correct.
most part, so it's on the other side?
Correct.
Okay. There's a proposed timber retaining wall, 10 square feet. Why, is there regrading being done? or what is-
Well,
why
if you
is
look at
that?
the pictures, they're landscape walls. I think a timber retaining wall is a generous description.
So
If
it's
you
a
look at
raised
the
bed, basically?
photographs, they're just working with the existing grades because it's already little timber walls there.
I see.
So they're just reworking it to make it work.
Okay, so there's no
It's
real
not
changing
fill
of
and
the
big.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that's a generous term.
okay. Okay, questions?
The native plants, how will we determine what goes where?
It's just little small strips. The two areas add up to 60, it's either 62 or 63 square feet. So they just wanted the option of choosing from your approved list. It'd be a row, that's all that will be able to be accommodated. And there's no mitigation required per your regulations. They talked to Nikki, and Nikki always tries to encourage people to put in some native plants where they can, so they agreed to do that. So they wanted the option of just being flexible with that, and they could even have it pre-approved if you would like to see it.
Sometimes our practice is just to run it by the agent
Okay, that's fine.
before you plant them. Yep.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so Paul, you'll be able to prepare the negative determination with the condition that the native plants will be chosen from our approved list, and they will run the selections by you before installing them.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. With that, we'll take a motion for a -3.
I move that we approve 94 Juniper Lane West for an RDA with a determination of -3.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Carol?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
I vote aye. So that's approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're on notice of intents. 33 Whistler Lane, Charles R. and Maureen K. Goheen, map 16J, parcel 30A-10A, SE 10-36, we don't have the full number yet, redevelopment of site.
Good afternoon. For the record, Thad Eldridge, East Southeast. Bill Litchfield is the attorney in this, and he should be online. And not sure if the Goheens made it online or not. We were before you with this project in the recent past, obtained a order of conditions for a renovation and addition. After they got the numbers back and realized how much would have to go into the old house, they made more sense both financially and practically to reconstruct the home. So we're now before you with Slightly larger footprint than last time. We are still keeping the garage outside of the 100, and some shifting around. Just to review the resource areas, we have floodplain that surrounds half the property. It does intercept a slope with a tennis court across the street, making it a coastal bank. To the south, it's just floodplain, and then to the southwest, there is another former tennis court that created coastal bank. The property is mostly lawn at this point. We have a few non-natives up to the north, and then a number of natives. The land management project that occurred several years ago to the south, it kind of overlapped onto this property, and some of those native plants along Whistler Lane were planted at that time. So I did speak with Mr. Litchfield today. The Zoning Board of Appeals application has been filed, and that'll be January 25th. And once we get an order of conditions here, we'll close out the previous, just to keep continuity there. So as mentioned, it's the demolition, removal of the house, the septic system that's within 100 feet, walls, patio, driveway. So we have the new dwelling proposed. Most of that is within the 50 to 100. The remainder is outside the 100. We have a new septic system that will be sited outside the 100. The driveway will be significantly reduced from a full driveway going to the back of the property to a 2-car parking spot. We do have a walkway going from that. That does extend into the 50. A variance has been requested for that. And that was really, they're planning on building a stepping stone type of walkway there. There's a pine tree that exists, a good-sized pine tree. Every effort will be made to preserve that. They'll put the fencing around it and keep it safe. The grading goes up to it, but it doesn't go through it. The non-natives to the north will be mechanically removed. A hedgerow will go in there with some sort of native hedge. So we are reducing driveway, which of course is important. We have some regrading that's being proposed. That's all in lawn area now. And we didn't think that would cause too much of a stir by having some regrading within the 50, but still within lawn. There is a fence out there. I don't know if anybody noticed all the dog toys and the fence that surrounds the lawn now. They had installed a lot of that for just a temporary purpose. They thought they'd be back before you sooner than they were. Their planning took a little bit of time. Their proposal is to remove the wire fence, and they'd like to install a fence about 4 feet off of Whistler Lane. The fence on the western property line they'd like to keep, with the exception of the last rail down to the south. The mitigation required for this encompasses one strip that's along the southerly property line. As we had before, there's a view easement there, so we're limited in the elevation, the height of these plants.
That's me. I'm sorry. I'm just.
Okay. We are proposing the fence straight across.
Sorry.
Quite all right. All right. So we're proposing the fence straight across. We do have mitigation that's being proposed outside of conservation jurisdiction. We happily write an easement or license or just have that as part of the order of conditions, that will be mitigation. It is within the 50 from a floodplain, so we're hoping that the commission would be accepting that. This mitigation would require the removal of one section of fence, and then they can continue their fence along the edge of what will be lawn in order to contain their dogs that do like to run. And I think that really covers the overall of the project. I've provided all the performance standards, and most of those are not applicable. And from there, are there any questions?
Just want to start by clarifying. So you had said that you would propose to close out the other order after we issue a new one?
Or simultaneous too, I mean,
Just before, I think, is
Sure.
when what I would suggest is that we do that at the same hearing, that we approve an order, close it out first so that it's clean and the record is, and then go ahead and approve the new one. All right, so we'll schedule that.
we just want to grab the next branch before we let go of the first one.
I want to make it clear and clean before we,
Yeah.
we'll do it I'll do it in the same hearing.
That's
So, Crystal, if you can make sure we schedule that, the COC for the prior order work never started. Nothing was done under that, right, even?
Nothing
They
was
never
done
did
under
anything, okay. We'll close that out simultaneously.
And we'll get that request in, and, I mean, we're really looking at January 25th for the zoning, so we'd be just after that.
Yeah, so that would give us
With the
time to
final.
get that all put together. Okay. All right, let's say, start over the side, questions, comments. Karen and Mary?
I have a little, I understand wanting fence for dogs, but I do have a concern about the amount of fencing that is being placed. And I'm hoping maybe it can be cut back some.
Okay. We can certainly review that with the client.
I would jump in on that and say, can it be cut back and moved out of the NDZ? There's a way of creating a fence that would encircle a good-sized running area, even for, I mean, we've heard the big dogs argument repeatedly, we're sensitive to that. But it can probably attach to the side of the house and encircle the other area and be outside of the NDZ, because putting a fence in the NDZ
Yeah.
is problematic at best.
Understood.
That was my biggest concern. Let others go.
Mary, any questions or?
No, I was just looking at the fence and whether,
Yeah, it's a very large area that's proposed to be
Yes,
fenced
but-
in. It's the whole front of the property. It's an extensive property.
It is.
Oh, I know, I did have a question about the grade changes, the regrading that's happening. What is, walk us through the extent of that and the purpose of that.
So where the house is going, it's really extending beyond the existing patio where the ground does drop. We wanted a flat area to be able to walk around the house. The two patios in the rear of the house will certainly be, at level or level themselves. So we were just looking at doing a variation. It's a 2-to-1 slope on the east side of the dwelling, and then leading to a 4-to-1 slope out the south side of the dwelling. Depth-wise, I think the worst, we're looking at about 4 feet of depth is the largest fill. So it's a little bit of regrading, and yes, some of that is within the 50, but we're going from lawn area to a 2-to-1 slope that won't really be usable for a viable lawn. Though grandkids will probably have fun rolling down it.
It will be planted with grass?
Currently, that's the plan, is to plant a grass mix on it. They are working on a landscaping plan. They'd like to come back in later or work with the agent on the final landscaping plan.
Okay. Do you think that would happen before the end of January?
I can certainly ask.
It'd be great to have that in at that point, so we could have something, get Paul's input, and then approve everything at one time.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Okay, this side, Bob?
Sad, on the mitigation area, way down at the end of the property, I can't quite follow where fences will be after you're done. Will fences be on the inside of the mitigation and on the outside, or just one or the other?
Oh, no. So the fence would be set, and then the mitigation would be outside of the fence, and that mitigation would be contiguous with the Wilkinson ecological restoration that occurred on the adjacent property.
All right,
So we're not sequestering mitigation from other mitigation areas or other native areas.
so will there be a fence around the whole property in addition to your proposed dog fence?
No, that would be the fence.
Okay, so the green line, what does that represent?
The green line's the property line?
Property line, okay. Even though it says in the green area, existing post and rail fence with wire.
Yes, because along the westerly property line, there is an existing fence.
Yeah,
That would be cut back,
right.
and then a new fence would come across. There is a wire fence that exists at the edge of the lawn now. That would be removed. And then similar post and rail fence would be installed heading around.
So there will be fencing all where the green line is? No. Just,
Property line. It'll move forward.
It'll
by
move
the-
north from the green line at
Okay.
the south where we have
but there'll be,
mitigation.
okay, okay,
But otherwise, it's the property.
but no fencing otherwise?
Right, just in,
Other than that fence.
Why do you need that fence then if it's not connected to any other fence?
it would be.
That's why I'm confused.
Okay. So we have an
Just
existing
point
fence.
to where all the fencing will be.
Okay, so we have an existing fence
Yeah.
Is
that goes
this
down.
property's fence or the contiguous, who put that fence in?
I believe the Goheens put that
Okay,
fence in.
just was wondering where that.
So we have existing fence along the westerly line. It goes down to the property corner. We
Right.
would pull it back one section
Right,
and then attach a fence to that runs out to Whistler and then back
all
up.
the way back up. And the
And then
dog
it-
fence would connect to it.
That's the dog fence.
It is the dog fence. It has mesh.
How, okay, I am really confused now. So on the, on the
fence.
plan, I see a dark line closer to the house going from property line to property line that looks to me like it could, what does that represent?
That's the,
Oh, that's the siltation barrier.
That's the
the,
siltation barrier. Oh, so you want to fence the whole property? Okay, I
that's
misunderstood.
why I questioned it.
Yeah, I get it, but I thought we were talking about a fence there. So, oh yeah, so I'm totally on board with. needing
Understood.
to-
Thank you.
That's way, way, way too much fence. Yeah.
Yeah, the silt fence will be too short for the dogs. The other fence is too long for you folks, so we'll
Okay.
find something in between.
No,
Well,
but
well,
I do like the concept of extending the mitigation area into the neighbors, which has already been mitigated. That makes perfect sense, so don't change that part.
Okay.
And you say that the foundation plants will be native. They'll draw from that list you include in your plan?
Yes, we added a few in there just to get things started, you know, we put inkberry in for a hedgerow to the north. That may change out to a winterberry. There's some pasture rows that I put up against the house. It's still up in the air at this point, so I've given them the native plant list, so they're looking through and,
Oh, so that's not firm yet?
no.
So they'll try to get, they'll get us
Yeah, okay,
before we have to rule.
all right.
But I have expressed that that's gonna be predominantly, if not entirely, native plant species.
Yeah. I want to ask you a general question. I think I've asked you this before, but I want to ask it again, and that is, typically with your projects, very often, you don't work with a landscape, plant person. Who does your planting, and what is the plan of care for the mitigation plants?
So we did add we pulled together a set of notes after the last time you mentioned this. I
Yeah.
don't have them on this plan because it's not really a landscape plan. But we generally work with the property owner and provide a list of what's acceptable
Oh, and they plant it?
quite often. And sometimes we say, this will work here and that will work there. And we just stick to the native list.
We often put in orders of condition if we don't know who critical key contractors are ahead of time, that selection has to be approved either by the agent or the
Yes.
agent can refer it to us.
That's why I was
Yeah.
asking, so.
Sometimes we don't know ahead of time, but so we put that in if we don't know.
I mean, I can say on the mitigation to the south on this one, I cheated and I copied the list from the land management plan that occurred to the south, because that's got to be compatible.
Yeah,
Obviously, I picked and chose so that it was the lower plant, so that it meets the view easement,
yeah.
so they're not in
I would
violation.
just ask that, as a matter of routine for your applications,
Mm-hmm.
where you're not working with a company, that you indicate who, if it's the owners, then indicate it's the owners. Because, not everybody has the expertise to plant plants
Mm-hmm.
and keep them alive. So that's why if it's landscaper, we don't really concern ourselves with it.
Oh, and it would be the landscaper installing these, or someone else. We're certainly not going out and planting the plants.
Well, that's what I thought, okay, maybe we had another miscommunication. I thought you said that the owners would do it. Do the
No, it's
planting.
who was choosing the plants, I
Choosing,
thought is what you were
you'll
asking.
have
yeah.
a landscaper
Yes,
plant them. Okay,
they will
okay.
have a landscaper plant these, so it's,
Okay.
The dogs to dig the holes.
Dogs will dig holes. Yeah.
Works.
they never put them in the right spot.
My dog will only dig things that are already in the ground and won't make new holes.
Okay, that's it for me.
Okay, thanks. Mary or Cheryl, questions, comments? Okay, I think that we've identified, the only real issue is the extent of the fence, and ask you to pull it back as much as possible, and certainly out of the no disturb zone. You're going to zoning on the 25th of January. So,
We have
do we have?
January 24th is our closest to that, and then February 7th.
Yeah, probably
Would
not ideal to go before, to
No.
issue it the
Well,
day
would you want to meet on the 24th to review plants and fence if we're
And then
able to
schedule
pull
it
those
for
together
an
and then
order
schedule
on
for
the
the order?
7th.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so we'll
And then-
continue to the 24th with an eye toward ultimately issuing on the 7th of February.
And that way it'll be
Okay.
fresh in your minds, because
Well, that is one of the risks we run, is that by the time we get there, it's stale, it is old news, and, I have to go back and watch the tape again.
well, even after the, preparing for this filing, I had to go, or for preparing for the meeting, I had to go through the filing, and what did I say here and what did I do there? And,
Oh, from the last one.
no, just from,
Oh, just a
just
few
just from the
weeks ago.
filing a
Right.
few weeks ago.
The last one. I know that feeling, yes. Okay.
Okay, I move that we continue 33 Whistler Lane to the meeting on January 24th, 2024.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Karen, sorry, I don't have
Aye.
anything here. I vote aye, that's unanimous. See you back here on the
Thank you much.
24th of January.
Have a great afternoon.
You too, thank you.
All right, the next notice of intent, 444 Cockle Cove Road. Brian and Cynthia Casey, map 5B, parcel 12-20. There is no SE number yet. Demolish the existing dwelling and replace with a new dwelling and proposed landscape improvements.
Good evening. For the record, I'm John O'Reilly. I'll be representing the Caseys today. I believe Brian and Cynthia are online. Also with me virtually is Mike Ford, the attorney for the Caseys, who will be available to answer any questions you may have regarding ZBA schedule. And then Jen Crawford should be joining us. Yep, there
Yeah,
she
she's
is.
there, yep.
And she'll be, her folks have done the landscape and restoration plan, and I'll leave that, I'll turn the meeting over to her when I'm done with my presentation. So we are working at 444 Cockle Cove Road, which is the last house on the right, adjacent to the town parking area. Our resources involved on this project are coastal beach, coastal bank, which in this case is the coastal beach is to the south of the bulkhead and parking area. Coastal bank, and in this case it's the bulkhead that envelops the shorefront side of the property. We have a riverfront area from the creek to the east of the paved parking lot. And we also are subject to coastal storm flowage. On this particular lot, we are dealing with a velocity zone that currently cuts through the dwelling and deck that's on the property, and we also have a still water AE zone on a portion to the north and east. So what we're proposing to do is demolish the house and deck and simply reconstruct a new single-family home, 3 bedrooms, on a flood-compliant foundation. We have pulled all structure out of the velocity zone and are showing about 460 square feet reduction in the 50-foot area and an overall site reduction of hardscape and building of about 200 square feet. The site is improved with a shell driveway. The shell driveway will remain as it's currently constituted with some introduction of some pavers. There's a small bit of lawn at the end of the driveway along Cockle Cove Road. The intention is for that to remain and be converted. And then we are proposing an outdoor play area. If you've been to the site, you can see that there is a play structure in front of the house. So we'd be looking to create a bark mulched area. We're not looking to move the play area to the bark mulch, but it'll be an open bark mulch area and we placed it on the west side of the house for visual, so someone can see it from the house as well as the rear deck. And then there is a proposed patio dry laid for outdoor grilling and vista. The remaining area is going to be planted, and at this point, I'd be happy to turn the meeting over to Jen, who will talk about her restoration plans, and then be happy to answer any questions the commission has. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, Jen, it's on you.
All right, good afternoon. For the record, Jen Crawford from Crawford Land Management here for the Caseys. So the project is pretty simple. John has already hit all of the highlights. With our restoration plan, since we have a net reduction of coverage throughout the inner and or over in the buffer zone area, we've proposed plantings around the house and along the top of the bulkhead. If you visited the site, you know that entire area currently is just open sand or has the existing house and deck right up to the end of the bulkhead. So I strongly believe that anything we're doing with this project and this plan is an improvement over the existing condition. We've chosen as hardy of species as we thought that we could. As you all know, this is an extremely exposed location, getting buffeted from not just wind, but salt spray and all sorts of other stuff, so to speak, that these plants will be contending with. So you can see from our species list, it's not extensive in diversity, but as you know, we have kind of limited availability here for working in these site conditions. We have included a fescue lawn panel to accompany that dry laid patio area, so that there is some outdoor space that can be utilized on the property as the house and deck components have shifted so far back from where they currently exist. And honestly, that pretty much covers it. So I'm happy to answer any questions on my end.
All right, thank you very much. John, I just want to go back to something you said that caught my attention. You said that the remaining lawn along Cockle Cove Road will be retained and converted.
Well, I think right now it's just regular, I don't know the type of grass, but in Crawford Land Management, they do identify that that is going to be fescue lawn through that area.
So the existing lawn along the roadway then will be changed over to fescue?
According to Jen's plan, yes, to
Okay.
fescue.
I got it.
My point with that comment was that the driveway was basically staying as you see it today.
That's what I thought. That's why I was wondering whether I was mishearing you say converted, because I thought it was just staying. Okay.
Thank you.
So can you explain the patio that's proposed for I would call it the front of the house, facing the seaward side of the house, that's fairly large and an unusual configuration, and it's in a VE zone?
So that area currently is open sand. And that side of the house is where the kitchen and the dining room area is versus the, we'll call it the parking lot side of the house is where the primary bedroom is. And so with the active part of the house being on the south, I guess, plan south there, it made sense for us to be able, because we can't extend a deck area, we can't have structure within that VE zone. So it made a lot of sense to be able to utilize that area, really.
So, but there are two decks proposed just behind the VE zone, but still in the, I mean, this whole house essentially is in the no disturb zone, so we have those issues as well. And I understand that given the constraints you're dealing with and the shape and the size of the lot, moving it back is not an option that would allow you to comply with setback requirements. But if the two decks, which appear to be pretty spacious, are contiguous to the living and dining and kitchen areas, why do you need this large patio?
The deck outside of the dining area is basically, it's basically large enough for a small round table for 4 people. I don't know how it looks on plan, but it is actually, it's pretty small.
The dimensions aren't given, so I can't really, it's hard to say. Yeah.
Yep, so it is actually fairly small. There wouldn't be enough room to even fit a grill up on it along with a small table like that. And so that's why we have provided some of that patio space. Again, what's there is just sand. There's nothing occupying that space now. So we felt that with the overall moves that we were making on the property and the overall net reduction and the 400 some square feet that we were reducing in the 50-foot buffer, even while maintaining a dry laid patio, we thought that those were all very responsible ways to be able to redevelop this property.
Well, I'm not saying they're not responsible. I'm just wondering about the size and the configuration. Why does it have that long extension side?
The long piece?
Yep.
So we wanted to be able to, with the current patio furniture that the property owners utilize on the very large deck that's out on top of the bulkhead, we wanted to make sure that we were able to accommodate that furniture because it's how they've historically been able to utilize those outdoor spaces. And I included that long strip, if you will, for them to be able to put some additional, or rather ones that they have, seating along that so that you could easily sit and enjoy the view out versus, and it's also very windy in this site, but versus some of the other furniture would be more accommodating for gathering spaces on that corner. Would it be helpful to show some of that on a plan so you could actually see how large or small
That would be helpful.
the spaces
Yes,
are?
because I'm struggling with scale here.
Sure.
And because the dimensions aren't indicated, so I'm in my mind, it's growing and then shrinking. So, yes, adding anything that can provide some scale. But this area is separated from the house by the restoration plantings in between, right? So it just is accessed from a set of stairs off the deck?
Yes,
Yes.
that is correct. And that planting bed is only about 4 feet, 3 to 4 feet wide between the deck and the dry laid patio. So it's small. It's not
Okay.
like, it's not a large 10-foot wide planting area. These are very small spaces in actuality that we are working with, but we're happy to put some dimensions and show some furniture to help bring it more into scale. And we can also show it in conjunction with the current large deck that spans, all the way to the top of the timber bulkhead. It might be helpful to see that size comparison.
Okay. Yes. Go ahead.
So Jen, is your idea that in putting this patio, that they'd have more of a tendency to, it would actually protect the grass that's further to the right of it, as I'm looking at it. The fescue lawn would be protected because they're less likely to put lawn furniture on it because now they have a patio to put the lawn furniture in. So, I mean, is that part of your
Correct.
reasoning that this actually protects some of the grass so they're not using it, moving furniture on it?
Yeah, Absolutely. And also you have to remember that it being in the velocity zone, we can't propose a deck or even an elevated, 6-inch deck that sits above. We are, really constrained with, we're in a velocity zone, so we're trying to maneuver through these regulatory areas as gently as feasible, so to speak.
Thank you.
If I could just chime in through the
Yep.
chair. The existing deck that sits seaward of the house is 22 feet deep from house to bulkhead, and about 25 on an average, east to west. So the deck is massive compared to what we're currently proposing. The western deck that has the set of stairs onto the patio is 9 by 10. And the eastern deck that serves as access from the yard up the stairs is 6 by 14. So the patio was asked for by the applicant simply to be able to enjoy the outside. Because really those decks, Jen's right, you could have enough room for a table and 4 or 5 chairs, but they also serve as access into and out of the house. So putting a grill plus a table, we just needed some additional space. And Jen came up with a great idea of the patio, dry laid patio.
And I mean, honestly, we could leave it as just the sand that's there now, but we felt that that's also not a good option. We feel that being able to have a space where they can actually put their patio furniture, they can kind of hopefully stay a little bit sheltered behind the neighbor's fence from when it's windy, and to provide a space that they can actually use on the water side of their house was fair and reasonable considering the moves that we've made to move everything further back and out of velocity zones and reduce that NDZ zone.
Yep. We hear that. Thank you. You come over here. Bob, questions?
Come back to me.
I do have one question. I can't remember what it was. I wrote it down. Outside shower.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. It's
That we don't
right on
allow.
the 50-foot, so it's definitely in the 50 to 100.
So we don't
Can
call
that be a
them out.
rinsing station?
Yeah.
It's a rinse station.
Yeah, on the plan it says outdoor
I
shower.
know,
We
I
don't
just read
allow
it.
those.
I just read it. No, it's a rinse station.
That's what I assumed you meant.
I thought you would agree with us.
I could blame the drafts person, but that would be me. So.
Well, then go ahead and blame them, yeah. Okay, Karen?
I'm a bit concerned about putting the swing set and mulch primarily within the 50 in the NDZ. And, I mean, I know the swing set has very little impact on the ground, but the whole mulch does have an impact. And I'm wondering why you placed it there and why mulch.
I can
yeah.
respond to that.
Thank you.
So this property owner has children that are special needs children. So having a swing set is something that they very, very much enjoy. And being able to locate that in an area that's directly outside the kitchen window, as well as outside that dining room and connected to the outdoor living area, was extremely important to this property owner for them to be able to, keep an eye on their kids and to have that area function within the greater landscape. We couldn't put it in front of the house because that area, the parking area is staying pretty much just as it is. So we really have no room there. And putting it on the water side, as you can see, they won't have any usable space left on that water side if we were to do that. And so that is why we located it where we located it. And yeah, that's our reason for putting it where we did.
Can it be made smaller?
Can it be sand instead?
Yeah, and something else other than mulch?
I don't think that that would be an issue. That's something that we can consult with the property owner on. I don't think that that would be an issue. If you would prefer sand versus mulch, there's already sand there.
Yeah,
That's why we prefer sand. So if that's okay, because I understand it has to be, safe, for children, but.
Yep.
okay, that was my major, because I think you've addressed the patio concerns, which I had concerns about.
Mary,
Oh,
anything
I
else?
should also mention that another reason with wanting the patio is that the planting that we have designed is intended to be a little more naturalized versus, shrub mulch kind of a deal. It's designed to be naturalized. We're putting some American beach grass on top of the bulkhead that will spread. So having a patio surface that kind of contains some of those edges was also desirable, if that's helpful.
No, the only thing I noticed is there's no pool proposed, correct?
Oh, my God, no.
Well, no, I was gonna thank them for using all the water that we have available to us,
Right in front of the house.
right in front of the house, so that's a good thing.
We're glad about that. That's a break.
But no, besides the outdoor shower.
We could add a pool.
No, that's okay.
No, can you add a note saying that we do not want a pool?
I have a quick clarification, John. So, the entire lot is within land subject to coastal storm.
Actually, a very
coverage.
small portion is beyond. We have a 12-foot contour, 11-foot contour.
Oh, there it is, yeah.
That runs.
The very
it cuts
end
off the tip of the lot on the north, runs along
I see
the
it.
parking lot, and then dives back into the existing building.
Okay, but everything that matters is within
Exactly.
the floodplain.
We're dealing in active floodplain, yes.
Yep, and the riverfront setback area, is the entire lot within that 200 foot?
Yeah, you can see on the
That's right.
plan, the riverfront area from here
Yeah, so-
is through here.
And I figured there's no line because it must go beyond, it must keep going. So the 200-foot line is,
Well, the 200-foot, it's not as bold as the buffer lines are, but you can see the 200-foot line is right here,
Yeah, it's noted.
oh, there it is. So it's just on the edge of
just on the edge. The entire lot is in the riverfront.
Yep, okay.
And, we're taking the approach here, obviously, this lot was created well before the riverfront regulations, and we're trying to deal with that 5,000 square foot, 10%, which I believe we meet.
Yep. Okay. Bob, we're back to you.
Okay, I have a question about something totally different. And that is the structure on the outside of the bulkhead. I see in your notes that is to be retained. What is it?
It's actually the frame of a set of stairs down to the beach. When the bulkhead was permitted, the license plan shows a set of stairs coming off the bulkhead, traversing down to the beach.
But it's not currently stairs.
That's the conditions it's in right now, right? There's no stairs there now.
Okay, because I thought there was some sort of reference obliquely in the application that it was some sort of dock or something like that. It's not used as a dock.
No, well, the bulkhead does intersect mean-high water, so it is subject to the license
Well,
requirements.
that's where I'm asking the question. Yeah.
Right, so it is the bulkhead, the stones along the toe, the stairway, as well as the stones along the east side, were all approved by this commission and licensed through the Commonwealth years
Okay.
ago.
And including that part of it?
Yeah, we can provide you a license if there's a question there. I do have a copy, just not with me, but we can provide the license that defines the bulkhead, the revetment, and the stairs.
And the stairs. Yeah, I think that would be good to have in the file.
And obviously, if the owner decides to reconstitute the stairs, we would be back to you for that type of approval.
Right,
We're not doing that today. We're dealing with the house, but
right, okay, all right. I think that's what I have.
Okay. So you'll get us a copy of that. That would be good, helpful to have for the file.
yeah,
This is
I
part
have
of
it at the, yes, I have it at the office.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
get it
fine.
off to you, yes.
Thank you. What else do we have in terms of changes? They'll change the designation of the shower to a rinse station?
Yes.
Thank you for that. You'll look into, Jan, changing the mulch to sand. What else do we have?
And maybe minimizing that area a little bit.
I can take a look at the size of the existing playset that they have and see if that can be accomplished or if it needs to remain as is in order to accommodate.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else? All right, let's talk about, so what is your status with the ZBA?
We are, oh, is Michael? Oh, Mike, Mr. Attorney Ford.
Mr.
is
Ford?
So, Madam Chair, Mike Ford, attorney for the applicant. We are actually on the ZBA agenda for tomorrow, but we're being continued until the 14th of this month, a week. So
Okay.
that's our schedule. We're before the zoning board on December 14th.
Okay. So our next available hearing after that would be January 3rd.
Okay?
How's everybody, does that work for everybody? Yeah.
Beggars can't be
And
choosers.
does that give you enough time, Ken?
I would say, the 27th of December, no, not gonna happen.
That probably would be a productive meeting.
Yeah, we have to
The
be
third,
keeping,
the third would be great.
okay, the 3rd will be fine. We have to keep an eye, everybody, on that date, because I think we're starting to continue things to there.
Yes.
Let's not
So, Madam
overwhelm it.
Chair, will you?
Yes.
Madam Chair, will you be able to get some communication to the zoning board?
Yes, we
for their
will, we
meeting
will
on-
write a letter with our usual that we believe, as proposed, this project is approvable with the appropriate conditions.
Thank you.
Okay, all right.
All right.
So, motion to continue.
I move that we continue 444 Cockle Cove Road to the meeting on January 3rd, 2024.
Gordon seconds.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That's unanimous. We will reconvene on the 3rd of January.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
All right, one moment while I pull up the next set of plans and
Want me
documents.
to read it?
Give me a second.
Okay.
We're going to Scallop Terrace. Yeah, go ahead. This is easier.
All right, the next notice of intent is 9 Scullop Terrace, Robert A. and Julie D. Napolitano, map 15A, parcel 9C, H143, SE 103651, remove the existing structure on site and construct a new dwelling and 2 decks.
Hi, good afternoon, Asa Mintz, AJM Site Design. Here with Donnie Dunham, DeMartin Dunham Builders, as well as Paul Shea, who's online here. Paul Shea compiled all this. He's our sensitive resource area consultant. So last time we met, we had a couple items that needed to be addressed, some administrative and some more site-related items. The administrative, the first one was the town application, which we've now provided to you, the checklist. The second one was the USGS locus map. I believe that was actually filed in the original filing, so you should.
That's right. We
you
did
should have
correct
a
our,
copy of
yep.
that, right.
Thank you for the.
Correspondence with natural heritage, we've provided a natural heritage map. We are outside of any estimated habitats or priority habitats here, so no need for a natural heritage filing on this project. And an official variance request for the new construction within land subject to coastal storm flowage. Paul has drafted a letter for that item. So as far as the site goes, we had, we went out and had the surveyor do some staking for us. We staked the decks, the driveway, the property line, which is also basically the limit of work, as well as what we could on the proposed building. I drafted a staking plan so you can see exactly what we staked and how it was all color-coded, and hopefully that made sense to all the commissioners. Also on that plan was a landscape plan that we have put together. We're proposing mostly Virginia rose and bayberry out here. As part of that, we're also relocating the 5 inkberries that were located in the front of the house, per your request. We will use those to do a little screening around the rinsing station, also per your request. So, there was some discussion last time regarding the apron. We had originally proposed a concrete apron leading up into the drive-under garage. And then we discussed possibly maybe a dry-laid cobble apron, but we're actually gonna remove the apron altogether. So we're gonna run shell right from the garage, right to the edge of pavement, in the front. So also, kind of in that thread, is we went in front of the zoning board last week, or I'm not zoning board, planning board, last week for a zoning board referral for the second driveway, or for a driveway in the Conservancy District. Generally speaking, they don't allow that second driveway, but under these circumstances where the parking down here is generally not good, and the fact that we're removing the patio from the front yard, basically, and that's where the driveway is gonna go, they found it acceptable to endorse this project, to move to the zoning board filing. So zoning board we have coming up on the 21st. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. You have it on the 21st. I also have a note here that you're going to the Historic Commission,
Historic has already been approved.
and they've already approved, okay.
Yeah, sorry, I meant to mention that.
Yep, got it, need to make that. All right, questions, comments on these changes? Thank you for the extensive, you clearly listened to what we asked for.
We try.
No, you provided a lot of information that made it much easier to review and make a decision about. That said, there may be other questions and comments. This side, Bob?
Just a question about on the southern edge, what I call the southern edge, there's a mulch bed?
The mulch bed?
Mulch bed.
Yeah, so we've got, the applicant's looking for low maintenance here. We were originally thinking grass, but he'd like to just do the plantings and mulch beds all around. You've seen the site, it's pretty small. If you start putting a couple plantings in, it's gonna take up a lot of real estate. To provide any grass in between that might just be kind of tough, so, we'd like to kind of keep it mulch beds and plantings. And if we have to put some more plantings in to take up some more space, so it's not,
Well, the plantings would be to provide a benefit to the environment, not
Yeah.
to take up more space. So what I'm asking about is why you have 2 plants on one side, 2 plants on the other side, and then just a bunch of mulch in between those two.
That's what yes, exactly.
It's just, so there will or won't be plantings in that part of the mulch bed?
There will not be, it's not proposed to be planted, no.
Okay.
No. I was trying to, the other part, I was trying to kind of leave, we have some flood venting that's down low as well. So I was trying to sort of leave some of the flood venting. You'll see on the north side as well, I left a little gap there, just to kind of leave that flood venting open a little bit as well.
Well, all things being equal, if you've got a spot for plants, that's where I would go for.
We could absolutely put some more.
Just some native ground cover, that's little or no maintenance. In fact, I would argue there's less maintenance than mulch, which you'll have to replenish.
True.
That's it.
Elise?
Thank you for handling mulch. I'm pleased to see the shell. Thank you for removing the concrete. I think the shell
You got it.
is a brilliant choice, so thank you for that. And I don't have any other issues.
All set.
Good. Karen?
Well, you need to update your wording on your plans to say rinse station, not outdoor shower. Mm-hmm.
I call it an outdoor shower and then I write RS, so yeah.
Yeah.
Much
well,
like John, I've got to fire my drafter.
You too, huh? Time to talk to John. Okay, anything else? Mary, anything?
Yeah, nothing else.
All right, let me see if I've got anything that wasn't covered. No, I think we are set. All right, so We will, since you're going on the 21st, we will provide our usual letter with qualified approval of it and schedule this for an order of conditions on January the 3rd.
Okay.
All right, let's
Okay.
schedule that one.
I move that we continue 9 Scallop Terrace for an order of conditions on January 3rd, 2024.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
And I vote aye. We'll see you back here on the 3rd of January.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
All right, ready for the next?
Yep. I'll
Okay.
pull them up.
The next notice of intent is 28 Cranberry Lane, Richard and Jill Tepper, map 15J, parcel 18, SE 10-3653, demolition of an existing dwelling and construction of a new dwelling within the buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland.
Good afternoon, David Clark on behalf of the Teppers. Also online are the San Giulios that are the architects and landscape architects for the project. Sorry for the late submittal of the revised plan. Hopefully you had all a chance to look at it. I also submitted this morning the revised area calculations to help with today's meeting. So after the last meeting, the design group took a look at the project again along with the owners and made some changes pursuant to the comments that we got last time. So the significant change is removal of the circular driveway. And the landscape plan now shows that area will be restored to the extent possible in that the old vehicle tracks are there. No significant plantings will be placed in that area, but it will be vegetated. So that eliminated any new and the total removal of existing coverage within the no disturb zone. So on this property, the no disturb zone will be restored in its entirety. That, along with the removal of the vehicle tracks off property, results in over 700 square feet of site coverage being removed as part of this project. In return, we're asking for 1,270 square foot increase in the outer aura. So basically, we're getting rid of all the site coverage in the no disturb zone and asking for an increase in the 50 to 100. Although that results in a 45.5% site coverage, if you take into account the over 700 square feet that's being removed in the no disturb zone, we're actually under the 35%. It's just the numbers are getting shifted from one resource area to the other, and the rigid way we do the calculations doesn't reflect that. We still have to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals on this. We'll be going back to the Board of Health next month also regarding the additional bedroom. The additional bedroom we requested last month from from the Board of Health. So I'd be happy to answer questions. Again, the architect and the landscape architect are online if you have any questions on those plans.
So you're adding a bedroom and you need to get, from the Board of Health, do you need a variance or is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we got caught in the vacuum of their regulatory change this summer. And,
Right, right.
And so
Right.
we're trying to work it out. But that won't change the project as far as conservation.
As far as we're
concerned.
concerned, no. Yes, I have to say, I'll just say thank you. You guys, again, clearly listened. Cheryl and I were out there and ran into Susan as she was re-tagging the trees. So we had early notice of what was happening, that the 13 proposed was down to 4, of which 2 show signs of extensive active infestation. One is leaning, and the other is so damaged that the next good wind is probably going to take it out anyway.
Yes, and I neglected to mention that they did provide significant documentation from arborist
Yep.
regarding the condition
Yep.
of those trees.
Yep, and I want to thank you for that, and thank Susan, I think, and Jason, I guess, for the extensive information that you gave us at the on-site, which was incredibly helpful in understanding some of the condition issues, particularly with respect to pitch pines. So that is all very good. Let me start over here. Mary, how are you on this? Any questions for Susan or Jason or David?
No, I do appreciate the revisions. I don't know if I'm looking at the latest one. The only thing is it says there be 4 pitch pines removed, and then it lists 5. 3 trees will be removed less than 15, and then 2 trees greater than 15. But
Which, 3, there will be 4 pitch pines removed. 3 less than, oh yeah, it's sideways, so it's a little hard to say. 3 less than 15, 2 or 3. This is hard to read.
2 greater than 15,
Yeah,
which in 3 plus 2 usually adds up to 5.
that's been my experience, but I'm pretty sure that,
But I only see 4 noted. as
yeah, Susan,
removal,
can you
so
help us with that?
Is that just a typo?
Hi,
Yep.
David, can you maybe pull up L2 because that's the actual tree removal plan? Or
Paul's gonna have to do that.
Who's,
Oh,
but hold on a second, we're,
Paul, I'm not sure who's sharing.
is
Yes.
the
It's the
There we
L2
go.
removal
tree
plan.
removal plan.
That's it. I'm
That should
referring
be
to
it.
to that note up there to the right.
So,
Yes.
so you'll see tree M is over near the south property line. That's the one that has the damage from some sort of mechanical damage and also extensive beetle activity.
Yeah.
Tree M, and then A and B are the pitch pines in that strand of pines that have pretty active beetle damage. And then the 4th tree is tree H, which is over near the northern property line. That's the one that we called the telephone pole that also had some extensive turpentine beetle damage, and that's also where we'll be grading to do some retention on site for the runoff. So those are the 4 trees that will be removed.
I think, Susan, the issue is if you look below where you list the A, B, H, M, and you say there will be 4 pitch pine trees removed, underneath that statement, it says 3 trees less than 15 inches, 2 trees greater than 15-inch diameter. So
Yeah.
that's not matching.
Well, no, it doesn't match. That's a mistake on my part. I believe that's from leftover, but it will be 4 trees removed.
Okay.
But you need to fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to fix that, yes.
Yes.
We started out with 13 and backed off to 4.
Right.
And the thinking there was that we would, the other trees do have some turpentine beetle damage, but not nearly what the 4 that we'll be removing have. So we will try to do some sort of treatment program with bifenthrin, but again, it's a sprayed application that you do twice a year, so we need to be careful about timing for that actual application. But it does only need to be sprayed in the bottom, say 8 feet of the trunk of the tree where the beetles are most active. So we're gonna do what we can to try and hang on to what the other trees that will remain, and that's with a spraying program.
I think that's great. I think the clarification is that I think you're still correct that there's 7 replacement trees required under us because it is 3 trees
Larger than the
that are
50.
greater and 1 that is less. So the math is still correct. It's just a typo. So, sorry for being
No,
so
it's
nitpicky.
going to be a
it's-
document of record, so if there's any confusion that it would create, we want to eliminate that. So thank you for being eagle-eyed. I couldn't read that. Okay,
But other than that, no,
thank you.
I am pleased with the,
Okay, the only question I have is that area that's in the 50-foot buffer landscape mitigation area 1, is that, any of that area part of the easement that we've heard about? And if so, how does that work, that you're planting in the easement?
Can we go back to L1 now?
Yes.
The square footage that's shown there, the 1,620 square feet, that's only within the property.
Right,
But so the calculations are all based on things that are within our property. So outside of the property, basically there's lawn area and the existing driveway. So our proposal is to keep all woody plant material out of what would be considered the vehicle tracks easement to the other property, so that if for some reason we wouldn't abandon the easement, and it would still be accessible because it would be planted with native grasses and wildflowers. But the easement will remain. It just won't be a drive surface anymore.
But
Is that what
can
you're
you
asking?
do that to an easement, is plant things there? Because you're also putting some trees.
We do have trees on the back edge, but they will be out
the
of
edge. So
the
there's
vehicle
the track,
track area.
except for-
I mean, you'll still, there's still 15 feet of clearance there, so you can definitely drive through. It just seemed like when you're out there, we could use some trees on that edge, but if you are, if that's a problem, we can certainly take them out.
No, I was asking because it's an easement, and I haven't seen plantings go into an easement, and so it's for my education that I'm asking
So-
does anything special need to be done to be allowed to do this?
At this point, it's presumed that the easement is inactive, in that there's a stockade fence on the north end of the driveway. So the easement description simply says in the deed that a right to pass and repass. The only definition of where the easement is as shown on the land court plan. There's no meets and bounds description, it just shows a traveled way. And you would have to scale I think 1 in 60 plan in order to determine what the width is. So again, it comes down to where the easement is where the vehicle tracks are on the ground today. And I
Right.
don't believe they've changed substantially. So the idea is to not plant anything substantial in that area, just create a ground cover. But if somebody wants to reestablish it in the future, and they have a right to do so, they would have to come before the commission.
Okay, thank you, because I just wasn't sure how that, whether it's allowed, how it's dealt
Yeah.
with.
And the easement
thank
goes
you.
back 80-plus years at this point.
But if someone were to surface, you're saying that you've left enough space there for them to be
Yeah,
able to...
the idea is not to block it by
Yeah,
planting trees within it, but
And again, I do appreciate being listened to when we went for the site visit. It's very nice to see as much driveway taken away as was, and the trees being protected, and attempting to allow them to continue and live. And so I very much appreciate your modifications.
okay. Bob.
The trees thank you as well, so.
And not to be redundant, I drove out there yesterday, and when I saw the change in the tagging, I almost got out of the car and danced. I just am so happy for the trees to be saved. Thank you.
No problem.
we still haven't filed with zoning board. So we
Okay.
will we'll be continuing this probably till, I'd say, the last meeting in January.
The 24th?
Unless the commission wants to see additional changes, but it sounds like everybody is on board with this. version.
Yeah, we are. I don't have anything written down for any further changes. So let's do a check-in on the 24th. We may or may not have a draft to look at, maybe not.
Order of conditions.
Mr. Litchfield's hand is up. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Bill Litchfield here on behalf of the Teppers with David Clark. Given that we won't have a final determination on the bedroom count, and we won't be in ZBA until the first hearing in February at the earliest, just wanted to bring that to your attention, that maybe, certainly January is an option, but later might be more economical or efficient for you.
Okay, appreciate that. But given, we could go to February 7th or 14th. Why don't we pick one of those? And if you don't have what you need at that point, we'll do a quick review to make sure that we're set with everything we need for the order, and then hold, just to remind ourselves, because there's not a chance that we'll remember all of this by February.
The 14th is fine with me.
Okay. The 14th it works for us too.
I know there was an abutter last time with a lot of comments, but I don't remember their name, and so I don't see anybody.
Yeah, is there anybody else on the platform or on the phone who wishes to ask a question or make a comment? All right, then let's have a motion to continue this to the 14th of February.
For an order?
Nope.
No.
Just for a check-in, and we'll see how things are.
Okay. All right. I move that we continue 28 Cranberry Lane to the meeting on February 14th, 2024.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
And I vote aye. We'll see you all back here on the
Thank you.
14th of February. Thank you all very much. Appreciate your willingness to listen and adapt.
Thank
Okay.
you.
The next notice of intent is 162 Shore Road, Tom and Michelle Jennings, map 16D, parcel 15-29, SE 10-3650. Removal of an existing dwelling and construction of a new dwelling located outside of the outer aura. Relocation of an existing accessory building, construction of an in-ground swimming pool and hardscaping, abandonment of an existing septic system and installation of a new IA septic system, restoration of existing lawn with native plant species.
Hi, Joe Waller from Stinson Landscape Architects, representing Michelle and Tom Jennings. I'm also joined by Attorney Litchfield, Stephanie, Matt from Wilkinson, Hucker, Abby and Lily from Stimson. Here's our latest plan. This is our third time before you guys, including our site visit. I think you're all fairly familiar. Our previous version moved the building and most of the structures further, approximately 7 feet further to the west, to pull everything out of the no disturb zone except for a fence at the south of the property. The current plan addresses the comment and request for that fence to be pulled out of the no disturb zone. We've also reduced our coverage within the outer aura by approximately 29 square feet. We've also reduced the fence configuration on the north side to pull it back further from the resource.
Pulled back, okay. Okay, so we're still waiting, I have here that we're waiting for ZBA. You are seeing them,
Bill, do you want to confirm that?
Yeah, we are waiting for ZBA and also Historical Commission. It would probably be February at the earliest by the time we would be in front of them. It might even be later than that. So there's no urgency in this regard.
Okay. Good to know. Let me open it up to questions or comments on any changes that were made under this one. I know we wanted to ask about, I'm sorry, I'm asking the question myself, about the license agreement with the abutter on the north side for the mitigation area there. Has that been
If I could
finalized?
respond to that, Madam Chairman, Bill Litchfield. I assume that the document that you just accepted for the Scattery property can be the model for us. In our last conversation, we were waiting for that. Mr. Riley was kind enough to send me a draft of that document, and we said we would tailor our version to what was acceptable. And since you're waiting for a signed copy of that, but I understand you've approved the form of it, so we will do that with the property owner to the north.
Okay, so we have approved the form, and we will make it a condition of the order, unless you get it before we get to the order stage.
I would expect we can do that. Yes.
Okay. So we just need the signed copy for the file. Questions or comments from commission members on any of these changes?
I
Nobody?
don't have anything.
Nope.
Yeah, I want to thank you for pulling the fence back. That was my only outstanding concern, and much appreciated.
Yep. Anything else? Nope, I think as we're on a lucky streak today, and to be thanking people for listening, and everybody has been accommodating of each other's concerns, and moving forward toward a final plan that everybody can accept. So that's a good outcome in our book. So all we need to do at this point is to schedule this. I think similarly to the last one, maybe the best course of action is that we regroup with a check-in meeting after your zoning and hearing and historic hearings, so that we make sure that we remember and we have all the information we need to draft the order and then go forward with the order in the second meeting after that. So.
Should we do it till February 14th as well?
Yeah, why not? Let's make
Does that
that.
work?
That's fine.
February 14th will be our revisiting day of all of these, to remember all of these.
Okay, I move that we continue 162 Shore Road meeting on February 14th, 2024.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Lise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
And I vote aye. We will regroup on the 14th, make sure we're all clear, make sure you've got all your approvals, and get ready for an order.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate all of the work that everybody has done.
All right, our next notice of intent is 46 Scattery Road, Carolyn McDonald, trustee, map 16J, parcel 20A-9, SE 10-3655. The proposed work consists of the replacement of a single-family dwelling with a new single-family dwelling.
Good afternoon, David Little and CC.
CC Caitlin Camilleri.
Caitlin
with
Camilleri,
Woodflex.
thank you, Caitlin. Teresa's here as well, Steve Nickerson, the builder, Kenny Nickerson, the architect. I expected Bill Riley here, but we can probably muddle along without him. So, when we left the hearing a few weeks ago, I left with the thought that we would take a closer look at the driveway to see how we could improve things. And we made several changes to the driveway. Notably, near the top of the coastal bank, it was reduced in size, so we've reduced coverage on the site in the NDZ by 176 square feet. That being said, it's a series of different types of driveway surfaces, which I will let CC and Teresa get into. And then in addition to that, we also left you with the impression that we were going to be providing you with additional mitigation. So that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Blue Flags. Thanks.
Great. Nice to see you all again. So in addition to reducing the driveway in that southern section by 176 square feet, We've increased the vegetated buffer strip by about 300 square feet just south of the driveway along the top of Coastal Bank. And we'll be replanting that area with 53 shrubs that include sweet fern, Carolina rose, and fragrant sumac. And the reduced driveway area will be replaced as a microclover fescue lawn, which will allow for drivers to have a little bit of wiggle room when they're backing out of that southern area, as opposed to if we planted it with shrubs. And reducing this section of the driveway will also reduce the disturbance in that area where there are some sentimental climbing roses along the fence line there that we'd like to protect for the homeowner. And then on the northern area of the driveway, we're proposing a ribbon parking strip, which will further reduce the permeable hardscape material by 167 square feet. And we'll just replant that as a microclover fescue lawn between the strips, and which will further enhance the permeability and water filtration on site.
So I think that's pretty much it. It's a very difficult site, and we tried to give you additional things that would help you find your way to feel that you could entertain an order on this.
Yep, could you, David, please walk us through these various materials that you're proposing for the driveway?
Sure, so in the top portion of the driveway, it's going to be permeable pavers that they're like the concrete pavers that you can put shell or grass in between. It's going to be 2 strips of them with the microclover fescue on both sides and in the middle. To break that up from the gravel drive, that's either going to be pavers or ACB, we have a cobblestone apron. And then from the gravel drive going down to the proposed drive, that's where it's either going to be the pavers again, the permeable pavers, because we have a slope of, it's not significant, but it's probably 6%. So this way we can assure the commission that we're intercepting any stormwater runoff that might be coming down toward the coastal bank. We're proposing another cobble apron and then just a gravel driveway that's been reduced in size right along the top of the coastal bank, because that's relatively flat.
All right, so when you're talking about permeable pavers, we've seen different iterations of this in terms of we've seen interlocking ones that are dry laid, but you're talking about concrete blocks that are separated by grass, actually. There's articulated pavers, is that what they're called?
Exactly. Articulated concrete block that would have some pea stone or something in the middle that would allow for permeability. The biggest point here is that we're reducing the amount of compaction, particularly on the slope. So we want something that's going to be stable for cars to move up and down the slope, minimize the amount of compaction. The other option would be like the interlocking permeable pavers. The exact material hasn't been chosen yet. The homeowner's still pricing out material to see the cost of the different material. But one of the things that also is really beneficial about the permeable pavers, again, it reduces the amount of compaction, so it really does allow water to percolate through, particularly on sloped areas.
Do you know anything about if there's any difference between the articulated concrete blocks and the interlocking pavers in terms of their permeability?
I don't, but
I did a driveway that's 16% in East Orleans, probably a dozen years ago, with those type of concrete blocks, and they put shell in between them, and it's held up very, very well, and we haven't had erosion issues from it. So I'm very comfortable on a slope such as this. I think it'll work well.
Okay. But you'll have to, I think we would prefer that decision be made before we issue the order so that it would be specified in the plans.
We would be very comfortable with that. Bill Riley has not filed with Zoning Board of Appeals yet, so
so we have time.
we have time for that. So I imagine Steve and Carolyn McDonald can make a decision on which way we go in the near future. Steve? Yes. Okay.
just so you know,
We got,
the letter from the central filing clerk, Sarah Clark, indicates that you're on the schedule for tomorrow for ZBA.
I was not aware of that.
Just so you know,
but we couldn't
that
find
might
it
not be
on the
correct, but
agenda.
checked ZBA's agenda and we didn't
It's
see
not on
anything.
the
I don't-
agenda, but that's what her letter said.
I just spoke with Bill Riley this morning. I don't believe that's the case.
Okay,
Okay.
just making sure you don't have a bad moment tomorrow.
I think we could continue it for probably a couple of months.
And one more clarification question. So on the cobble apron, that will be dry laid?
Yes.
Okay. Gravel is fine. Okay. Questions? Comments? Questions? Comments? Questions? Questions?
I find myself once again saying thank you for listening to us. Maybe a record.
I guess we should only schedule meetings
Yeah.
after Thanksgiving.
Honestly,
It's
we,
our Christmas present.
Thanksgiving was lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's our Christmas
everybody was
present.
in a good mood and said, let's give them what they want.
I'm taking my cue from Dave Clark.
You could do worse. All right, so what is your desire in terms of when you would like to?
Could we continue it till the second meeting in January maybe, and then we'll continue it again? I don't really know what the
Yeah.
ZBA schedule is.
They're going to be getting a lot of filings, I have the sense.
Yeah.
The second hearing is the 10th.
Could we do that?
Sure, that's 4 weeks from today. 1, 2, 3, 5 weeks from today. All right,
And at the very least, we can present you with the final plan for the driveway.
exactly. And we can cross our Ts and dot our Is and then figure out a date that hopefully you'll know by then when you're on and we can schedule it.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. I move that we continue 46 Scottery Road to the meeting on January 10th, 2024.
Gordon second.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
I vote aye. We'll see you back here on January 10th. Okay.
All right, the next one is 414 Fox Hill Road for a notice of intent, Christopher LaCroix, map 11M, parcel 5-2, SE 10-3652, proposed dock replacement. Applicant has requested a continuance to December 13th, 2023.
Okay, motion to continue?
All right, I move that we continue 414 Fox Hill Road to the meeting on December 13th, 2023.
Gordon second.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
I vote aye. That's on the 14th. All right, we are
Okay,
up to the certificates.
so,
I'm happy to switch with George here. He's last on the agenda.
You want to read that, Karen, or you want me to do it?
wait a minute.
Wait, we're
We're
changing
talking.
order here. David and
Okay.
George are switching order, so.
I think we're going to start with geranium.
Geranium, that's what you're, yeah.
You're here
George
for
is here for
geranium?
geranium, so we're gonna do
All
that.
right.
We're gonna move to that one.
So,
Okay.
next on the agenda is 65 Geranium Drive, Elaine E. Dixon, map 8D, parcel 16-R2A, unauthorized removal and topping of trees in the resource area. This is an enforcement order.
Okay. Shall I start?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Maybe we should just briefly go through what happened there. So, I submitted a Google map. I don't know if you can see that. It's not it. It's, I don't know. Is it on there or not?
All of this, it came in yesterday, or that's when I was.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
So, and I don't have my little pointer, but you can see that this was probably taken before the violation, but it's fairly lushly vegetated, particularly compared to the abutter, which is basically a mowed field. And there's a yellow stripe is a common path for the neighborhood to come down to the beach, which is not a beach anymore, and I think it's rarely used. If you look at the top with the lighter color
green, that is mostly
They need him maybe
knotweed
closer
and
to the-
invasive
Oh,
stuff.
you need to step back to the microphone.
Oh, sorry, I thought,
Okay, there should be a laser pointer there, maybe?
yeah, but there isn't one. And the
Okay.
last time I had it, I couldn't use it anyway. It was-
Okay.
That's all right.
They never work. That's okay.
Oh, okay.
She's bringing it.
You're getting one
Right.
delivered. It won't work.
Push the button, George.
Just press this button, right there.
Is it on?
Yep, you just gotta press the button.
With this button?
Yep.
Give it a go.
Ah,
There we go.
all right, there we go. So that area here and over here are, this is knotweed and some other stuff, and maybe this is mostly vine, honeysuckle, some ivy, foxglove, things like that, right in this area. And down in here, right there is a large pitch pine that you'll see in a photograph, and these are mainly black and red oak that have sprouted after a pruning. This is mostly all grown up. It's rarely been touched. All right, so if you go back to then some photographs, just whatever the photographs we have. Who does that? There we go.
There's a little
So that,
light. Yeah,
let's
there's-
start here. So that's the view now. That's the pitch pine I was talking about.
Yeah.
And you can see in front, that's where some of the invasive vegetation is, and then it's been mostly trees topped, going down the hill. Okay, keep going. Next picture. This is like a travelogue or something. Okay, so that well, let me get my thing going here. This stuff, that's knotweed. This is a planted, I think this is a miscanthus or something, and then, next picture. Keep going. There, okay, so that's the invasive stuff on the other side that I was pointing at. All right, and keep going. Next picture. Okay, this is the path that goes down to the bottom, and you can see how well everything is growing around that. Yep, next picture. Okay, all right, that's where the trees have been cut previously, and the oak is reestablishing itself by growing up. Keep going. Next picture. Okay, so this is one of the things that have been topped and cut. You can see this is an arborvitae. It is resprouting, and this part here, really pretty healthy and growing up. Okay, next picture. We're going to the next picture?
It's coming.
Here we go. Okay, so this is the area that they cut stuff down. And most of this in here are the branches, and there's some of the logs. Next picture. Okay. Okay, and then there's some more of that. That's the other area. There's really two disturbed areas. Okay, let's go to the, yeah,
Plan.
the plan. Okay, maybe we can't turn it, can we turn it the other way? No?
Yep, yes, hang on.
Okay.
You gotta rotate the view.
Go back,
Okay, oh,
Yep.
no,
Up.
keep going.
down, one down.
Someone's telling me what to do.
Paul,
One more.
rotate left now.
There we
There you
go,
go.
okay.
Okay.
All right, so there's the path. This is the invasive area that was in the photo. These are the first big disturbed area. Here's where the arborvitae was. This is the with pitch pine, and this is the other disturbed area. These areas are oaks are growing lushly, sort of, and this is where the path is, and everything is well established. So I guess what I'm saying here is that it looks bad when they cut all this stuff, but the bank is not really, there's really been no erosion, and almost everything that's been cut is resprouting. So my feeling is that there's a lot of trees there. If they clean up the debris, the slash, not the logs, just the branches. And we can see where they've been tromping around. And the best thing then is to just reseed that with a conservancy seeding that would include native grasses and some plants. And that would, whatever area that had been tromped on and was exposed to soil would then revegetate and then allow everything else to grow up around it. And that, I think, would be a limited amount of traffic on the bank, which is really the most harm to it, I think. And up this area where the invasives are, to take those out and plant a vegetative strip separating the lawn from the bank. And as far as the view corridor goes, I think that, given Mrs. Dixon's, feelings about the place, that she's unlikely to do any more pruning there, ever.
Well, let's.
So, can I continue this?
Yeah, go ahead.
What I'm going to say? So, I think that if they are going to do a view corridor or do extensive pruning, they should come back to you.
That's where I was going.
Right, and get a approval on a regular filing for a view corridor.
Right, they would need to file an NOI for that. So what we would ask then is that this restoration plan, which will be attached to a restoration order, should not have any mention of a view corridor on it.
Okay.
So if you can remove all of that, and from the narrative, I think the narrative says you.
I've said, the last one I sent was a future filing.
Yeah. So we will hold that for the future.
Right.
Let's focus on the restoration right now, and that would, because I don't want any mention of it there.
Right.
I have a question about, so when you're talking about identifying selected trees to regrow to natural height, are you and I'm looking at the arborvitaes, are you talking about doing a coppicing approach so that certain leaders would be selected?
Basically cutting things to the base and allow the plant to reestablish itself.
You got to step back to they can't.
Reestablish itself from the base growing up, so you have basically in the beginning a big shrub. Right. And this is more like a pollarding.
A what?
That's, I don't know, you've seen it in pictures of European pruning of trees where they have a tree and it looks like a little ball on top. Because they cut the branch.
Plane trees and all.
Yeah, they cut the branches off the top. This is more in style with that. You'd identify what's growing well, let's say, and rather than let it grow like into a bush, you'd say, okay, those I will prune for a strong leader, and then that will grow into more like a tree.
So what will happen to those arborvitaes if you just let them go?
They'll grow into. My experience is they grow into a tree.
Yeah.
But it takes a while.
Yeah.
And you can see them sometimes. They have like a bended trunk, and then they'll start sprouting up into a tree above it. So almost everything there is going to come back over time.
But would it require ongoing maintenance and care to make sure that it comes back?
No, I think if you do one or two prunings and just let the leader grow, I think it'll just grow back.
All right, because what we've done before in this situation is keep the restoration order in effect for 3 years, same as our orders of condition, require checking,
Periodic
monitoring,
checking.
maintenance as it's needed, and then see where it is at the end.
We'll take a look when it's cleaned up, and maybe Paul and I can go out and choose a couple of ones that look good, and we'll flag them.
Okay.
All right.
Questions on the proposed restoration?
I have one.
Okay.
So when you mentioned arborvitae, I used to have a huge amount of arborvitae in my previous home, and it has a double trunk. So is this really, not that I'm asking you to take them out, but are you going to do anything to keep them from separating? Because
just let them grow.
okay, because
My
can
feeling
break
here
off.
is really less is more here.
Right.
We don't want to keep people off the bank. Because
Oh, I
it's
agree.
trudging around it is what's most likely to cause the problem.
Yeah, I just was concerned whether the two trunks will split and then we'll lose them again.
No, they'll
Okay.
just grow up into a
Great.
big tree.
Even better.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Right.
Bob?
In previous cases like this, there have been proposals to prune, to keep trees at a certain height. And I see on your plan, near the top, prune saplings to 5 to 6 feet.
Yeah. I think if we were going to do the view corridor, that would be definitely part of it. So then you would take the ones at the top of the bank and you would prune them up to 5 or 6 feet every 3 or 4 years or something like that. And then as you go down the bank where it's less of a problem, you could maybe prune them at 8 to 10 feet.
But we've taken a different approach.
Yeah.
Here.
What I'm saying is that all that's out the window now.
Oh, okay.
Because we're not doing a view corridor. We're just trying to make amends for the damage that has been done and make the bank whole again. And so we're doing really two things, planting a buffer and then cleaning the mess up and putting some seeding down to make sure there's no erosion.
And you're also letting things that are growing, trying to regrow.
Yes,
At least for
that's
the time,
correct.
at least for the time being.
Yes,
Yeah, so in other words, don't top anything.
we're not going to top anything.
Right.
No.
So you'll remove those references from the
Yeah,
plan?
I'm going to revise the plan to show what we're currently talking about, yes.
Okay.
But just so when you come back for the view corridor, that's when you would then come back with more detailed plan about
Yes.
what
About,
do with any of
yeah,
the-
where the view corridor is and what would be the maintenance protocol for that over time.
Okay. Just to sort of give you a heads up, what we've done, and maybe you already know this, but what we've done in a number of other cases like this is we have gone along with the idea of taking trees that are going to be pruned every so often, selectively, get rid of them, replace them with lower growing native shrubs,
Right,
so that no one ever has to top anything.
right.
And that's the goal.
Right, and I think that was a good idea. The problem here with that is that to do that, you really have to take stuff out. And to take stuff out then really disturbs the bank.
Yeah.
And I think the less disturbing here is probably the better.
Oh, no question. And also just, no more action.
No more action,
Yeah.
right,
Okay, thank you.
right.
All right, so then what we'll do is schedule this, you'll revise the plan,
And I'll bring it back to you
and we'll have, Paul will get you, I think he's giving you a draft of a template
yes,
that we have.
Yes,
Yep.
I've seen a couple, and George and I have talked about this restoration order process, and then
Yep.
how the enforcement order gets lifted, and so forth and so on, so,
Yep.
yes.
right.
Okay, so we will attach the narrative for the restoration as well as the plan to the
Right, and
restoration order.
Right, and I'll revise the narrative that I gave you basically to say that we're not going to do any more pruning
Yep.
and any filing for a view will be in the future somewhere.
Okay,
All right.
yeps,
Maybe I shouldn't ask this. There's a companion property. Is that in the works?
Yeah, well, that's a different situation, and not as much was done there, so I'm going to look at that in a different way, because
Okay.
there's much less
But it's still in the works.
that gone on there. So I think this is another project, but I
Yeah,
think
he
that
is.
having something to do with future maintenance is really what that goes.
okay, so that's gonna
that
be
all
next week, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, so given that we have to write an order and you're gonna revise your plan, let's see, today is December 6th.
Let's do the
How's
meeting.
January 10th?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Okay.
Okay,
Come back and maybe we can finalize everything then, which would be
fine,
great.
great.
All right, thank
All
you
right,
so much.
Thank you so much. All right.
Okay, so I move that we continue 65 Geranium Drive for an order.
Restoration
on-
order, yep.
A restoration order on January 10th.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote, Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
And I vote aye, that's unanimous. All right, thank you very much. All right, Paul, now we're on to,
Paul, you can do it, or you
74
can have me if you'd prefer.
No, I can, I'm fine.
Okay.
Okay.
So the first certificate, I'm gonna leave the camera off because
Yeah.
the way
Yeah.
my desk is set up, I gotta turn and turn my back to you.
That's okay, we're good.
All right, so 74 Henshaw Drive, Ronald T. Loken, map 14D, parcel 56, SE number 10-3632, replace existing timber retaining wall. This was issued on 7/20/23. The project was completed rather quickly. The project consisted of replacing an existing timber retaining wall located to and adjacent under a building. There was a pathway leading to the retaining wall behind the house, and that was also replaced. It looks like the contractor or the owner might have put this certificate of compliance together. So they did not list the ongoing certificates as we are now requiring on a separate Word document and attach it. But there was an issue with the ivy. You wanted to make sure that the ivy was maintained so it didn't continue to migrate between the Cape Cod lawn and remaining invasive plants to prevent migration of invasive plants into other areas of the property. And the owner and I did talk about this. I can follow up with him. I don't know if you want me to read the rest of the ongoing conditions. It's not many, but we'll just incorporate them into the order, into the certificate when it's done.
Okay.
There was no, yeah.
Go ahead.
Right,
I just about to say, I think Mr. Logan is online and his hand raised.
All right.
So
Okay.
let's hear
Well,
from
Mr.
him.
Mr. Logan.
Yeah.
Let me finish, Mr.
Okay,
Logan,
sorry,
and
go
you can
ahead.
Go ahead. One of the things that were in the minutes apparently was the commission did not ask for an as-built plan. They accepted pictures. And he did provide plenty of pictures. I inspected it. It was a very nice job, done very well. And not much disturbance around the wall itself or to the adjacent areas. There is a lot of ivy there, so they're going to have to maintain it over time. So why don't you go ahead, sir? I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to finish that.
No, thank you, Paul. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Mr. Logan, go ahead.
No.
I just wanted to let you know I am online if you have questions or need any clarification.
Okay, thank you, appreciate that. From what I can tell, the pictures are good. They do convey that the ivy will hopefully now be contained because it's enclosed in some of those walls. I don't have any questions. Anybody have? All right, then we have a motion to approve the request for the certificate.
I move that we approve this certificate of compliance for 74 Henshaw Drive.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
I vote aye. That is approved. Thank you, Mr. Logan, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for a good, fast, clean project.
Yes.
And for very timely filing of a certificate request, not,
Hey, I don't
30
wanna get
years
that
later.
No.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on then, Paul.
Okay. Next on the agenda is 125 Stage Harbor Road, Golden Orchard Properties, LLC, map 14D, parcel D11, DEP SE number 10-3442, construction of a building, addition, and swimming pool. David's here. There's a little bit of a complication on this one, but what had happened is the next one down on your agenda, 3453, it was this project, but the wrong SE number was issued. So when we get down to that one, we're going to just say that no work was done under that order
I see.
and close it out. All right?
Gotcha.
So for this one, basically the project consisted of a garage addition that will include both living space and a one-car garage, construction of a pergola and terrace off the east side of the addition, swimming pool construction and swimming pool and patio within the aura, a driveway reconfiguration of the existing previous driveway to preserve the European beech tree, enlarge it by 188 square feet of pervious material, 5 non-native Leland cypress trees were removed to accommodate the driveway and reconfiguration, and they were replaced by 4 eastern cedar trees. Compensatory mitigation was in the outer aura. They proposed removing 2 existing sheds located in the NDZ, which covered about 188 square feet. They did remove some invasives and woody herbaceous vegetation. The total project area for that was 4,900 square feet. David, correct me if I'm wrong on that. The mitigation reports were, the monitoring reports were filed. The checklist is complete. Wilkinson's last report was in 2023. We've got photos, and David did attach a list of the ongoing conditions. So did I have that correct, David?
I think you got it all right.
He's got it.
Okay. So having said all that and looked at it, I think it was well done, and David did a nice job putting it together. How does the commission, so now they're listing the ongoing conditions verbatim, as you requested, attaching as a Word document to the form. We're not going to read all those out. You just wanted to list it and...
Yep.
Right, okay,
Yep.
all right. And he did do that, okay. So with that said, I would recommend issuing a full certificate of compliance for 103442.
Okay. I move that we approve a certificate of compliance for 125 Stage Harbor Road, SE 10-3442.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote, Bob?
Aye.
Lee-
Yep, aye. I'm just going to say, it's a really fine-looking piece of
It's a-
mitigation there, so.
Yeah, the mitigation is spectacular.
Yeah, you did a nice
It's,
job.
We should get more pictures and show people, this is what it can look like. This is what it will look like in time, and people, if you do it right, yeah. Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
And I vote aye, and that's approved, and thank you so much. That's a,
It'll probably be on Seth's website.
yeah, probably, we can pull them off of his website, yeah. All right, so now we're gonna close out the incorrect one, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, 125 Stage Harbor Road, Golden Orchard Properties LLC, map 14D, parcel D11, DEP SE number 103453. Wrong SE number was assigned and recorded, and the work was never done under this particular project. So I think all we need to do based on that is just indicate the work wasn't done,
yep,
not get into the wrong order thing and just close it out.
okay. That's what
Agree,
it's,
David, or
Yep.
any further comment, Dave? Okay.
yep, that's what it
All right.
says, so that seems okay
right.
to us, all right?
All right, I
Alrighty.
move that we approve the certificate of compliance for 125 Stage Harbor Road, SE 10-3453.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote, Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
I vote aye.
Okay, next on the agenda is 147 Woodland Way, Thomas and Kathleen Doherty, map 11J, parcel HC41, DEP SE 103288, demo existing dwelling and garage and construct a new dwelling. This was issued on October 3rd, 2018. Everything's been recorded. Let's see, the demo house and new dwelling, it was a 5-bedroom dwelling. There was a shed outside the aura. They rebuilt and repaired the existing wall and rotting timber within the NDZ. A new Title V system. They removed a dog fence. Invasive species management was done. Mitigation, natives in the amount of 2,000 square feet. The order's recorded. The checklist is done. Everything's complete as far as I'm concerned. Jana, I think you had a question about this lawn. This might be the one?
This,
With the,
it might be, but, so there's a second one for this property.
That's correct, yeah.
3388.
think
Are they
it's-
sufficiently related that we should consider it together? Or should we do them
The second
separately?
one was
Let-
for a deck that was substantially different than the one that was on the original permitted plan, and so we, instead of filing for an amended order, we filed just a whole new notice of intent,
Okay.
just for the deck.
Okay. And did that have, that had its own separate
This one's the lawn.
mitigation?
Yes.
All right, then let's do them separately,
Well-
I guess.
Now, this
Yeah.
one has the lawn.
Actually, there was no mitigation in the second one, but
Oh.
I think this is the lawn one that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, we were trying to, that one, that right there. So
Yes.
when you look at the site plan, it appears that where that photo was taken, you'd be looking straight forward to a mitigation area. And we're trying to figure out whether that bright green, lush-looking lawn is where that mitigation area should be.
So those are the stairs on the south side. Let
Yep.
me make sure I got the north arrow right here. It would be on the southeast side of the building. So the mitigation area should be to the left of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, let
this
me,
one, the mitigation
sort of around the
plans.
corner.
let me get the.
Hang on, we're gonna pull up the mitigation plan that shows, it's the last one I sent you today.
Is that in Dropbox?
No?
Oh, okay. Then it'll take me a moment.
Okay, hang on one second. See, if I were on the platform, it would, but I couldn't figure out the audio.
Let me unshare here while I go look for it.
Okay.
It'll take a moment.
Is there any other questions or comments that anybody has about this? Paul, what was your conclusion looking at it?
Well, it looked like the mitigation was on the other side. Obviously, nobody likes to see that kind of a turf lawn, out there. But since it wasn't caught early on, or maybe done, you know.
Actually,
Go ahead, David.
grass is shown on the landscape plan. And the order specifically says no lawn extending any further than what's on the landscape plan. So this is the site
You can
plan.
see
So
it
I
right
think
there.
the viewpoint of that picture that was up on the screen was standing here and looking off to the
Right.
southwest. So I think it's just out of view is where the mitigation is. In our as-built plan shows the mitigation planting beds.
Oh,
And this was issued in 2018, I think, so
Yep.
a while back.
After several meetings. This was a long one to get.
Yeah.
I remember this one, actually.
Yeah.
This was one of my very first ones, and maybe just between, I was really new. So here's the 50-foot.
No.
Yeah, I had no idea. Okay. If you, yeah, I see what you're saying, that it is
Yeah.
possible that that photo was taken from that vantage point that would not have included the mitigation area. And I don't know offhand whether the order of conditions prohibited any kind of fertilizer or irrigation or any of that stuff in the 50. But,
Yeah.
I think all of that, except for a very small portion of that grass area is in the outer OR.
yeah.
If-
So here's
It
the
says no-
50. So it's taken from.
Yeah, just says no lawn in the ongoing conditions may
Where's that?
exist beyond, this is in the on,
But where is that taken from?
That's the problem I'm having. But it's got the,
no herbicides, pesticides, fertilizers shall be used in the aura to the wetland resource area. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the water. So,
it looks like it's in the 50. I mean, just based on.
in the aura to the resource area, which means the entire aura.
to the 100, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's sufficient ambiguity about this that we
Yep.
need to pursue a little more deeply. Because we need to figure out whether this really, how much of this, if any of it, is in the NDZ.
Yeah.
And then we need to figure out whether this sort of lush green lawn was either addressed, prohibited, allowed, whatever, by the commission at the time.
Yeah, I think what David's saying is it wasn't. Am I incorrect, David, or?
It's shown as grass on the approved landscape plan.
Yeah.
It does say grass.
That was a different commission.
Well, but you can't.
I know you can't, but this is sort of a
Nor
poster
do we
child
want to go back.
of what we're trying to prevent.
No, I understand. If you want to hold off, and that's fine.
Okay.
I think that, so Paul, when you were just reading that prohibition on fertilizers, irrigation, pesticides, was that the order of conditions or what were you reading from?
This is from the, hold on, let me just go back to it. It is, give me a second, Janet.
It's okay.
It's in
If it's the
the-
new
in the-
regulations, it's
yeah.
not applicable because that's post this project.
Right.
But if it's in the order of conditions, then there is an issue about whether it was prohibited.
Well, I was reading from the ongoing conditions.
Yeah, that means
I-
it must
I'm
be in
not-
the order.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think we need a little bit more time on this, David, to take a
All
look
right,
at
I will
what's.
reach out to the
Yeah,
landscape contractor and
ask
if
them
I can
to-
get him get a statement out of him as
Yep.
to why it looks so green.
maybe they may just saturated the color, no, who knows? I mean, I've been guilty of oversaturation, and, yeah, but there is a legitimate question about what practices have been followed and what practices are going to be followed going forward.
Yeah, so one of the special conditions, ongoing conditions, C7, no lawn may exist
Right.
beyond what is shown on the approved revised landscape plan. So I think in a whole, the lawn that's there is pretty much what's shown on the approved plan. It's just the other special condition.
It's a question of
About-
how it's been treated, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that the extent is a problem.
yeah, and it'll take me a few minutes to go through the whole order to do
Yeah.
that, so we can skip that if you want right now.
Well, we can continue this for a week.
Yep.
and
Sure.
see-
Okay.
And come back,
Yeah,
visit it back on the
absolutely.
13th? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, let's do
Well,
that.
Yep,
We'll
No
get
problem.
copies of the order for everybody to look at, so we can all make a decision
right.
about whether we think it's compliant or not.
Okay.
absolutely.
So,
I move that we continue 147 Woodland Way, SE 10-322-3288 to the meeting on December 13th, 2023.
Gordon, second.
roll call vote, Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
I vote aye. We'll get to the bottom of it. All right, thank you. Now, David, moving on to the deck.
Next one.
Yep.
147 Woodland Way, Thomas and Kathleen Doherty, map 11J, parcel HC41, DEP SA number 10-3388, construction of a deck. This was
Just saying.
in the 52-100 in the outer aura, and the deck was replacing a stone walkway which was permitted in the previous order. There was a generator, but that was located through a field change request. And the change in coverage in the aura was 71 square feet, and it indicates in the order that there was no mitigation required, unless, David, you want to correct me on that, but I think that's what it says. So David has submitted everything he needs to, the form, plans, pictures, all of the ongoing conditions are listed, and I don't think there's a similar issue on this one, so I would go ahead and recommend approving this as a full certificate.
Yeah, and David Clark for the record.
It was partial, really, yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Good.
so the house was underway and the owners changed their mind. And the Chatham's particularity about having a two-step amendment process, they wanted to keep moving as fast as possible. That's why we filed a notice of intent just for the deck, because we could get through the process
In
faster.
one hearing as opposed to
Yeah.
two?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, strategically, that makes sense.
The
Okay.
commission wasn't happy that I did it that way, I remember, but,
All right, any questions about that one? All right, let's go with Paul's recommendation and say okay.
I move that we approve the certificate of compliance for 147 Woodland Way, SE 10-3388.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote, Bob.
Aye.
Elise.
Aye.
Cheryl.
Aye.
Karen.
Aye.
Mary.
Aye.
And I vote aye, that one's okay.
thank you.
All right, one more.
All right, moving on, 39 Homestead Lane, Brooks Family Trust, map 15C, parcel 21, SE10, 3412, removal of invasive species and replant and restore area. The project description was included seeding over a coastal bank within warm season coastal grass forbs and seed mix. Once the seeding was completed, the removal of invasive plants began using applied herbicide, basal bark application, plant stem removal, trunk followed subsequent cut and removal of invasive plant material was done that way. Cut and targeted invasive plant and wait until new growth emerges. So this was sort of laid itself out. Later in the season, the invasive plants were treated with herbicide using a cut and swipe method to discourage reestablishment. Lindsay Strode submitted a nice review of his work on this. David has submitted the ongoing conditions. There are photographs. Lindsay's report isn't dated, but I assume it's recent. It's Cape Organics. So he gave a very nice existing and then, post-project conditions. And this was issued back in on August 18th, 2020. So after looking at everything, again, this is one that I think we could go ahead and approve with a full certificate.
Okay, thank you, it all looks
You're welcome.
well done to us.
This is a straight invasive removal
I remember
and
this one.
restoration.
Yep.
Okay, let's
Okay.
go with a.
I move that
Oh, wait,
we
Bob has a
approve.
question.
Oh, Bob.
Oh, I'm sorry. Straight invasive removal, normally that's accompanied by plantings.
There was plantings done, and that's why there was a 3-year,
Okay.
that's why we're here now.
Did-
It took 3 years to get through
Yeah.
3 growing seasons.
I mean, this stuff looks kind of brown. Is that because of the time of year that it was?
Time of year, yeah.
But yeah, probably.
Can I just ask a question about the growing seasons? Maybe for later, but it might be an opportune time to ask. I believe Brewster is doing 2 growing seasons in 1 year because you actually have 2 growing seasons in a year. At some point, we might want to define what a growing season consists of. We've talked about this.
Yep.
I get a lot of requests from applicants. We've been doing it almost on an annual basis.
Yep.
Issued in 2020.
Yep.
We sign off in 2023.
Right.
So I'd like to take a look at that with you guys and see what you think and how you'd like to approach it in the future.
Okay, let's do that.
All right.
Yeah, I don't want to cause a problem. We've been.
No, not.
Our knee jerk has always been it's annual. When you first brought it up,
Okay,
that there's actually
all right.
2 growing seasons, we all went, huh, yeah, I guess there are. So we can clarify that and make sure that everybody's clear. This one looks better.
Okay.
This other photo.
Well, it
Okay.
does, but
Now?
I'm just wondering whether or not this is, I don't know whether this is dormant or dead, I guess, when I look at it.
It's not dead.
Not dead?
Dormant. I think it's dormant,
You think
yeah.
it's dormant? Okay.
Okay, I move that we approve the certificate of compliance for
That one.
What? 39 Homestead Lane.
Gordon, second.
Roll call vote, Bob.
No, I'll say no, yeah, because I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced.
He's saying no. Elise?
Well, now what do I do? Aye.
Aye. Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
I say aye. Lindsay says it looks okay. I'm good with that. So that's 5-1.
Thank you.
And by the way, David, thank you for filing all of these at the right time.
Yes.
Well,
You know, not, you know, we have been making efforts to try to get people to file these things
yeah,
before
that
too much time
$50 carrot
elapses.
doesn't really bother a lot of people in
Right.
these situations. You
Yeah, I know.
The filing fee difference.
Right, it doesn't.
So,
So we're just happy that for people to, you know, reach out to them and get them to do the right thing at the right time. It makes everybody's life much easier,
sure does.
Much.
Thank you.
much. All right. That's it for us, Paul?
We have minutes.
I think so.
Oh, no, we
yeah,
have minutes. October 25th minutes, hang on. One last thing.
And then, Madam Chair, somebody wrote on the agenda, Mass DE, under new business, Mass DE subscription.
Oh, Crystal wrote that, so
Yes.
we'll talk about that in a
All right,
second.
yeah.
Yep.
All right,
Okay.
okay.
Thank you
alrighty.
for reminding us, Crystal. Minutes.
Oh, you're welcome.
Minutes. Here we go, 10:25. They've been in the Dropbox. There aren't any changes. They look perfect. Speak
Okay.
now or hold your peace.
I was gonna say.
Bob? Do you have anything? I move that we approve the minutes from October 25th, 2023.
Gordon second.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
I vote aye. That's done.
Now we have to do Crystal's Mass DEP.
Right, so Crystal, do you want to, because I'm struggling to remember, this is a subscription to it's a service that gives you access to all of DEP's decisions. Oh, cool. And they are otherwise a real pain to try to find. I've used other methods to try to get into them, and it's hard.
All their adjudicatory hearings, which can be very helpful if you're trying to wrestle with a new issue.
Yeah, incredibly helpful, especially some complicated issue that, and you find out that somebody else somewhere else in the state has been dealing with. So, now I think, Crystal, we get a certain number of logins.
Fine.
Yeah, there's, you can attach 5 emails to it.
Okay. So, we can share amongst ourselves, you know. So, if you and Paul want to, put Karen and I and who else wants, and Bob, you want it? And then, yeah.
As a former computer security professional, shared logons are not
Oh, shush.
a lot of my tool bag.
But we're not
And there's other things in it too that come with
Yeah.
it.
the information
Other
and then
stuff.
share it. Oops, can we download the information and then share it? That's what
Yes.
I was thinking of as share.
All right, let's do it this way. So the three of us will have login, and then we will occasionally let you see it.
Depends on
And I'm not an IT
what
person, so I'm
gifts
happy to
you
share
bring.
my password, so you can actually go on and take a look at what's there. Because my credit card information's not there, so.
Don't share your password.
Okay.
I agree.
So, yeah, go ahead, Crystal, that would be, we would like that.
All right.
Okay, I'll do that tomorrow.
Great.
Okay, are we done?
We're done, other than a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Gordon second.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Elise?
Aye.
Cheryl?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
And I vote aye. That's it. We are done. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
So we have